Welcome to the Reciprocity with AG podcast, hosted by Andrew Gadomski. Here, we explore ideas and experiences that transform lives with elegance and integrity. Andrew spent over 15 years as a workforce analyst for Fortune 500 companies in finance, healthcare, and supply chain sectors. In 2022, he took on the coveted role of Senior Operations Research Analyst at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, committed to enhancing cybersecurity and AI skills for the American people, its residents, and tribal nations. Andrew founded Aspen Analytics, a firm that leads in compliance and ethical challenges in our AI-driven era. Their Canopy platform turns risk into action, offering real-time policy solutions across wage and human capital disclosures, algorithmic and AI decisions, and cyber risk to HR departments.
Welcome to the Reciprocity with AG podcast. I am AG, which stands for Andrew Gadomski, and I'm coming into you from Marvin Gardens, the yellows on your Monopoly board, since we have one of our fast food chains that's going through that. That's a real place in Atlantic City. And in case you ever wanted to visit, I'm at the corner of Marvin Gardens and Ventnor Avenue, which means you should always buy in the yellows.
Noted.
I'm with Tracey Parsons of Flockety, and more important than us being together on this podcast is the time we've spent in this next hour doesn't compare anything to the time we've spent over the last decade together. I've got a lot of respect for you. Tracey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's great to be here. And I will always say yes to whenever you ask me something. Tracy, I won't even let you finish the question. Tracy, do it. Yes.
I have always respected that. When I call you, I don't think I've ever gotten your voicemail.
No, your name pops up on my phone. It's a yes.
You'll at least do that. Hey, I see you calling. I'm on the other line. I'll get back to you. Right?
Yes.
I don't know why people don't do that more. It's like, well, I mean, they do the voicemail, they do the text. Hey, I'm on the phone, like the automated, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. But it's just, where's the voice in all of this? We're on a podcast, we're doing the voice, but I wish we had more of that. Do you wish we had more of that?
I do wish we had more of that, but I will say that most frequently, if I'm calling somebody, they'll pick up my call, just like I will always pick up your call. It's the team, it's the vibe, and it's always valuable. I want you to hear my voice. I want you to feel valued. And even if I can't talk to you right now, that's fine. Right. But I think that people have this guilt and they feel bad when they don't have time for other people, and then they don't want to do it. It takes 20 seconds to pick up the phone and say, yep, I got this. Now, I don't do this for everybody, but if you're in my phone, I'm picking up the phone.
Actually changed my voice message, 6 months ago, and said, okay, you're actually in my voicemail, which is such an old school thing that you didn't text me. So I already know it's you. So why don't you use this as an opportunity to drop me a song that you like, speak out a poem, come up with a fun fact, and I'll hit you back.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I've had people come up with poems or literally say, here, I'll call you back. And then they call back because they know they're going to get my voicemail, and they'll read me a poem or sing a song. It's hysterical. Use the audio.
Absolutely. Take the time, right? Take the time. Take the time.
So I want you to run through your elevator story and let everybody know who you are. And then I want to actually have you immediately go into the story we were talking about in the green room.
Sure. I am the granddaughter of an immigrant coal miner and the daughter of a factory worker. And I got to watch my family struggle in the world of work my whole life. I studied marketing and I fell into the industry, and I said, you know what? There's nothing better in the world if you're going to sell a product, to sell purpose, to sell value. to people, to sell dignity. And so I just fell in love with recruitment marketing and have been doing this since the late 1900s, right? And I always come at it from the lens of my ancestors. How could we make work a better place for coal miners and factory workers and executives and corporate workers? Why do we constantly treat this like a battle, like a war? Whoever coined the phrase the war for talent, I have distinct beef with, because nobody wants war. They just want a well-paying job that they can take care of their families and put food on their table or take care of themselves, right? And so I always come to it from the lens of my ancestors. How can we make this better for job seekers?
You're right about the dignity and respect. I remember you go back, oh, I don't know, it feels like a couple of decades, but I'm at the World Economic Forum and I'm sitting there listening to Jack Welch talking about constantly upgrading the organization, probably inspired by Brad Smart and top grading concept. I don't think I have that book behind me because I threw it away. But this
Good.
idea, why can't we hire someone and make sure that they stay skilled, they stay happy? I appreciate that sometimes the walls get boring and you want to move on, but if you're deliberately trying to upgrade, if you're deliberately trying to move somebody out, where's your mindset? And I love this idea that dignity is where we start.
Yes, the whole thing is supposed to be egalitarian, right? We always forget, and right now more than ever, that we need each other, right? Businesses need workers to achieve that shareholder value that they're always chasing. And people need employers for just those things. Like sometimes your purpose is putting food on the table. Sometimes your purpose is a different kind of nobility, right? Sometimes you are trying to cure cancer. You are trying to make the job search better. So we need each other and we lose sight of that. Like we like to talk about this as some sort of power struggle. It's a symbiosis.
I've struggled with, so I've been mission oriented a long time and my missions have changed.
Yes.
The first one was this idea that you should be making smart decisions using data. And I ran that mission for a long time and then it became commoditized. Not necessarily, certainly commoditized in terms of technology, maybe still new to a number of people. And then I moved into this concept of protection, security, and safety. But for one reason or another, if an organization has a mission and a group of individuals who have real desire around that mission, if you're not part of that ideology, if that's not first or second, for one reason or another, there are parts of that group who think you don't belong or you're not worthy of being in that space and being in that organization. And, motivation doesn't have to be around just the work that you do every day. I've been concerned about organizations. We talk about cultural fit. Well, they don't fit our culture. I think you're actually saying they don't have the same motivations as you.
Correct.
Thereby, you can't get along with them. You have a belief system that's different. What do you think?
Well, so yes, and right. So yes, and it's narrowing. It narrows the aperture. And one of the problems that we have in this idea of mission and culture is that it's smaller and we don't broaden our view. And then we get into this idea of belonging and worthiness, right? And those two things do not belong in this thing. But the reality is, when we're talking about culture at a company, it is so full of bullshit. It is so not real. It is so glossy and rose-colored glasses and so it's bullshit and it's masqueraded as real. So when we talk about culture, we always like I remember I did something before talk. I think when we were at TA week once, I had looked at the Fortune 500 and there were 9 common culture tenets across the Fortune 500, had one of 9 in their culture. And it was gobsmacking because it was all bullshit. And it was things like, don't screw over the customer. Honey, you screw over the customer every damn day, right? Like you've got to be kidding me. Right. And you think when you look at these things, so we develop these ideas of culture that lean so heavy into the aspiration area that it's complete bullshit. What's really fun for me right now is I just got done doing the culture work for our company and rolling it out to our team. I told them, if you see things that are bullshit, you are required to call bullshit. That is part of the culture. And I will tell you, and part of the craziest thing companies do is tell you who they are, but never who they aren't. Usually when they tell you who they are, it develops into this one magical tagline, like some sort of bullshit about we're going to change the world. And I always dig into, whenever I was doing more consulting work, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what does that look like? How does that manifest itself to the average employee? Right? Because a lot of this culture work is developed for the C-suite to feel really good about what they're doing.
I developed into a workforce planning
Yeah.
over the years. As an ex-recruiter, I used to think, okay, people first, it's all about the people. I drank that drink. Then when I started workforce planning and understanding the concept of position management, I took all of those pieces of paper and all of that dialogue around our people are the most important asset, and I threw it away.
Because no, that is the bullshit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You cannot say your people first and then lay off 30,000 people.
Like this podcast and its transparency? Then you will love Aspen Analytics. Their audit documentation enable employers to share with investors, analysts, and regulators how their chosen HR practices using AI, wage equity, and analysis reduces significant business risks. Remove these risks before they become real problems. Find out more at www.aspenanalytics.io.
Yeah. And so I'm a big fan of the idea of positions are the most important part of an organization. What's your position on technology? What's your position on where you distribute? What's your position on any number of physical assets and then there's the human capital position management. And I know that sometimes people don't like human capital. I tend to think we've got to keep it financial.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you're going to create a position. Number one is probably going to change over time, but you're going to budget for it. There are plenty of people in the world who can do that job.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the likelihood that someone is going to be in that job for a very long time is counter to the entire story that you transfer people, you develop people, you promote people. In fact, if you look at our peer group, and I'm talking about people who are in the Fortune 500, Fortune 100. I've done this analysis. The majority of people don't stay in a job for more than 2.5 years, and very few stay with an organization for more than 5 years.
Right.
Now, that's not a ding.
No.
That's proof. The position is as important, if not more important, than the people, because you're going to have more than one person in that position.
Correct. And the whole assumption that people are just going to stay is fraudulent. So think about our careers and anybody listening, right? Where were you 10 years ago? Right? Were you 20 years ago?
Yeah.
And you may have a different job. You may have a similar job. You may be in a completely different space. Here's the thing that is so broken for me sometimes, Andrew, is that we always look at people as like this single flat piece of paper, whether it's a LinkedIn profile or a CV or a resume, right? People are always changing, and we're always trying to program for what we think we know about people. And one of the most magical things about people is that they are the most unpredictable beings on the planet, right? Like We don't know if somebody wants to move up. We don't know if somebody wants to stay put. We don't know if somebody wants to go lateral. We don't know what's going on in their lives that could be determining how they feel about the position that they're working in right now. Because you know what? We almost never talk to them about it.
People were shocked when I joined the US government.
Right.
They were like, wait, I don't understand. What are you doing? I'm like, well, there's a point where I've done the work for organizations that are 500,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, what can I do that's different? And it was like, maybe I can go ahead and figure out a way to protect and work for 330 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's a lot different.
That feels good.
It feels really good,
Right.
right?
You're an impact person, right? Not everybody is an impact person, but you're
That's
an
right.
impact person. And you want to, like, if we took more time to actually talk to people about who they are, and then giving them permission to be truthful and honest instead of shaming people about what they need and what they want at any given time, that's the secret sauce. There's no machine learning that's going to accomplish that for us. This is people having conversations with people.
Which actually brings me to our first question. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So I want to
We go
tell
all
me
over the
about
place.
something you've learned from somebody else, great technique that you use yourself today. You admired it so much, you're like, I've got to apply that to the work I do.
Yeah, so it's a blend of people. I look to you and your work around data and hey, if you've gotten too many, if shut it off after this point of time, like I parrot this back and credit you all the time to customers, right?
That's very nice. Thank you.
Alin Bailey is always a beacon for me. Alin helps me remember that I am a really whimsical, unique person and to just be myself. Right. And to bring myself and whatever I'm going to say, I will double down on that. And then I look at other people in the space that remind me that it's okay to be wrong. Right? Like it's okay to be like, I thought this one time and boy did I learn that was not the right thing, and to just admit that and to be honest about it, right? So I can't remember who my mentor was in that area, but just knowing when you've made a wrong assumption, make it right.
I think it's great to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And because that means that you've got awareness.
Yeah.
It's probably harder when someone tells you you're wrong, right?
I'm
But
okay with that.
But
I'm shockingly okay with that.
I'm a golfer. I know when I made a wrong decision because I see the result right away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if I've executed, the worst is when you execute the way you wanted and the result was just wrong. And you've got to be like, yeah, I made a bad call. And no one to blame but yourself.
I spend a ton of time reflecting. I am a very reflective person. I spend most of my Tuesday mornings sitting in a coffee shop, journaling and reflecting on whatever is happening personally, professionally, across the board. And those are the moments where I learn from you. Look at the data. What is it telling you? It's not personal, right? It's not personal. You're going to make a decision that is based on the best information that you have right now. And if the data is telling you that that decision was wrong, fix it, change it, adapt, right? Adapt and evolve. But you have to have moments of self-reflection because, like I said, humans are very unpredictable. And I'm a big believer in reading your energy. If you show up on a Wednesday and you are absolutely in a mood and you've done everything to reverse that whip, don't come. We are a small enough team that we need your best work, and your best work is not going to come when you are in a mood.
My daughter, I said, Wednesdays are the key to a good week. It's like, Daddy, I don't understand. I said, look, the chances of you not having to work or go to school on a Wednesday means it's like Christmas or New Year's Day. You're on break.
Yeah.
But there's no off days that are Wednesday by design.
Right.
There's Mondays, there's Fridays,
Sure.
but there isn't a Wednesday. So you got to be ready for Wednesday.
Mhm.
I hope she runs with that because I'm like, better go to sleep early on Tuesday because I know you got to show up on Wednesday.
Yeah. And so when you were talking about mission-based work, we take a different approach. I've always taken a different approach. I know what my missions are for today. I know what I have to accomplish to call today a win. When I am done with my missions, I am done for the day.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I love it.
if my missions are done at 10 o'clock at night, sucks to be me. If my missions are done at 1 in the afternoon, great. Go refuel yourself, recharge yourself so that you can go forth the next day and achieve your missions. Right. And so I believe the idea of full time is one of the biggest scams ever created.
It was political, labor
Yes.
related
Yes.
concept that's roughly 100, maybe 80 years old, but we digress.
Yes.
This is the end of part 1 of this podcast. Be sure to come back to your favorite podcast platform and listen to part 2.
Thanks for listening to the Reciprocity with AG podcast. You can enjoy more episodes by favoriting the podcast at leading podcast platforms. On behalf of Andrew Gadomski and all our guests, we enjoyed the time spent with you and ask you to consider reciprocating powerful learnings to and from all you meet.